Thursday. I tell y'all, my tech literally just fell apart. So I'm having, I have like kind of this thing rigged up. So hopefully this will work. My ring light broke and I'm on a backup ring light that is just old and crazy. Oh gosh, okay. Oh. Hey, Jessica. Hey, Kristen. Okay, I have one more thing in my...
Hi.
Hello, I'm sorry I was late. My ring light literally broke and fell apart. So I have like, it's kind of a mess.
Oh, that's totally.
Okay. Okay, we'll get started. I'll edit all this out. Okay, welcome to Let's Go Live. I'm Gigi Meyer and I have with me Kristen Owens, book blogger and YouTuber and PA. So we have a whole lot to discuss in this hour. So welcome, Kristen.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited to talk to you. I was doing like a deep dive down your your IG, and then I went over to your YouTube and was watching your videos.
Oh, that's so fun.
I know, I was kind of stalking you.
That's okay.
Okay, so I have a ton of questions, and we'll just start at the top, and then wherever the conversation goes, it goes. So, how long have you been a book blogger?
I started in like I'd say October of 2021. One of my best friend's Paige started reading again, and she was like, "You have to read this book." And I was like, "Okay, I haven't read since like high school." So I picked up a book, and I literally like just haven't stopped since. So
okay, what genre? Do you have a genre, or do you read all?
Romance, like 90% romance.
Okay.
It's usually romance. I read like some mystery thrillers, but like 90% romance.
Okay, well, obviously you know what I am, a romance author, so
Yeah.
you're a kindred. So you started in, you said October 21 or August of 21?
October.
October. Okay, and so how do you decipher, like, what do you read for pleasure and what do you read for your Bookstagram and your YouTube channel, or are there no division?
I wouldn't say there's a ton of division. There's some, like, I get arcs, and those will be things that I'm like, I definitely need to read this, but most of the time I'm only applying for arcs for authors that I really love and books that I'm excited about. So I feel like I only read for pleasure. And I'm such a mood reader, so I try my best to like set a TBR, but like I never stick to it. So I don't even know why I waste my time.
Oh my gosh, I feel like that's a bunch of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because there's so many talented authors out there, and I am a diehard indie supporter. So,
Yeah.
you know, I love my indies over traditional. I feel like they don't get the credit that they deserve. But girl, my TBR is just like, it's ridiculous.
That I have on my shelves that I have not touched
is I'm like, hello, old friends. One day.
I'll get to you sometime.
Exactly. Okay, so how do you then decide what gets review and what doesn't? Because I know if you're a voracious reader, not everything you want to put out there.
I have my big like 4 or 5 authors that like everything that they come out with, I'm gonna review. And
loyal.
Yes, I'm very loyal to my girls.
Love that.
But if I find something and it really grabs me, I'll especially do something on Instagram. But every book that I read gets reviewed in my wrap up on my YouTube channel, which I haven't posted my January wrap up yet because life is crazy. We had COVID a couple weeks ago, so it's been insane. So
but hard. Are you guys okay?
Yes, thankfully. but like I was so exhausted for weeks. It was ridiculous. I was like, what is this crap?
Oh my
And we had
gosh.
November, and I'm like, it's been one thing after another. But everything gets reviewed on my YouTube channel.
Okay, so you have those almost like a well, we'll talk about your ranking system, but almost like you segregate out those that are always good get IG, and those, even if they're not your cup of tea, or sometimes we read a book and you're like, that really didn't resonate, still gets to have its time on YouTube.
Yeah, and I'm one of the people that I will never put a bad review on something like Instagram. Just because like there's no point in it. Like if I don't like the book, I don't like the book. Not every book is for everyone. So but I'm never gonna like throw it out in an author's face or anything if like I didn't vibe with that book.
Okay, Kristen, that's very generous, and us authors appreciate that, because sometimes you're like, whoa.
Like everybody, like I could read that book and not like it, and then someone else read it and it'd be their favorite book ever. So I'm not going to, it's hard for me to be like, don't read this book, it's awful, because you might read it and love it. So I'm just like, here's a couple of little opinions. It wasn't for me.
No, I love that, because not only do I write books, but I read books, and sometimes you come across stories like, I have my diehard authors that I am an always buy, and so sometimes they come out with a story and you're like, it's not that they're writing crap or a bad author, you're just like, I just didn't feel it in that story. It didn't resonate, or I don't like that character, or she's too whiny.
Yeah, totally understand that.
Okay, so I appreciate the gracious approach you take in our community. Okay, so from there, I did see your wrap-ups, and they are so cute on YouTube.
Thank you.
So tell me about your rating system. Us authors always like to know that, because it's interesting. I know when I write spicy scenes, I'm like, this is a 5 pepper for sure. And then other people are like 3, 2, oh.
It just, and like I feel like so many ratings, especially with a spice rating, it depends on what the person has read. Because if they've only read like mild to medium spice, then something medium spice is going to seem very spicy to them. But if they've read something that is extremely spicy, like For the Fans by Nyla K, your spice rating goes up because you're reading things that are even more spicy. So I feel like spice ratings are so give and take depending on who it is. I don't even really do spice ratings. As far as,
you don't?
As far as like rating books, I am a very generous rater. You will hardly ever see anything like 3 stars or under from me. I don't rate books that I DNF. I do not rate novellas either. Just because I feel like novellas they're so short and usually don't have like a ton of plot. I don't want to like rate compare that to a complete novel. So unless I just really just didn't like the book, it's gonna get at least a 4 or 5 star from me.
Okay, so I can send you all mine. Is what I'm.
Of course.
I'm kidding. I will send them to you regardless, and not as a bribe for 4 and 5 star reviews. But what do you do though? So you won't put up a 1 or 2 review?
Hardly ever. I did. I gave something like a 2.5 star. I'm like a point rater as well. Which is why I love Storygraph compared to Goodreads. I still rate on Goodreads, but I feel like it's just so hard to be like, this is exactly this. I had a book that I just rated like 2.5 stars, and it was just like I struggled to get through it. I don't know if I rated anything 1 star.
Is it plot? Is it errors? What is it that gets the low rating in your?
It's usually plot or just like unnecessary things or things that like just didn't make sense plot wise. It's usually plot though. Sometimes I just won't like a character. But I feel like that's more of like a me thing than like a thing when I don't like just vibe with a character. You just don't vibe with people. So I feel like most of the time I rate, if my rating is lower, it's usually a plot thing that I just didn't like.
Okay, so for those that are listening and they may not know, what is Storygraph?
Storygraph is basically Goodreads. It's ran by, I think it's an all-woman owned business, but it's just like Goodreads. You can go in, you can track what you're reading, you can but you can do a lot more in-depth ratings. You can do 0.25, 0.5, and 0.75 stars. They ask you like, is this a plot driven? Is this character driven? Is there like a big character arc? Is it a diverse, like, are the characters diverse? It also lets you put trigger warnings, so if it's something that like trigger warnings are a big thing for you, good, because there are trigger warnings listed with all of the books.
Okay, that's interesting, because they always say just put your trigger warnings on your website. As authors, they're like, don't put them anywhere else it'll kind of get you in trouble. And so Storygraph doesn't mind that you put the trigger warnings out there.
They have a whole of them that you can like pull from.
That's cool.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier for readers, in my opinion. I feel like it's a more reader friendly website.
So are authors on there too, or mainly the readers? Because how Goodreads is happening.
It doesn't really have author pages. It's a fairly new website, and they're pretty self-funded, whereas like Amazon owns Goodreads. So they still, I feel like, have some things like author pages and stuff that they don't have that they're wanting to get. But overall, I think that it's not as used. You're not going to see as many reviews, but I feel like a lot of people are switching over to it.
I'll have to check it out. I've heard about it in the background, but I have not paid that much attention because, I hear that Goodreads is for the readers, so authors stay off.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like reviews in general are for the readers, which is, I try to drill that into authors' head. I'm like, just don't look at the reviews. Stop. If you want good reviews, I'll go look for them for you and send them to you.
That's so sweet. I do look at the reviews because I want to see, I want to see what I got right, but mostly I want to see what I get wrong, because
some can be very
brutal,
like constructive criticism, but also some of them are just flat out mean for no reason.
Oh, girl, I know. I'm kind of feeling like, whoa. And I had one by another author, and I was like, whoa, she came out with the pitchforks and the torches. I'm like, geez.
I just don't understand, in the world and society we are living in now, like, I just don't understand the point in being mean. Like, if you want to be constructive, fine, but if you just want to be like, this was trash, that's not helping anybody.
I totally agree with you. Like, my whole life and channel and my platform is just like, raise each other up. I always say, like, we rise with the tide. I'm like, geez, the world will tear you down. We don't need to do it. We don't need to contribute. Ugh, it's so gross anyway. But no, I do read the 1 stars because I want to know what I can improve on. If it's craft, if they don't like the characters, then good. I made the characters so realistic, you don't like them.
Yeah.
And I love that part. But if it's just like, plot or lost pacing, stuff like that, I want to know, because I want to make it better in the next book.
Yeah, definitely. Like, the constructive criticism is very good.
Yeah, I agree with you. So who are your favorite authors?
Oh,
who are your always
okay? My auto buys are Molly Owens, which, yes, I am very biased. Maren Moore. I've been reading Maren books for a couple years now. Kat Singleton, who I started reading her books last year. And also Monty J. I started reading her books last year. And then Jen McMahon, also, she released her first book last year, and I absolutely adore her.
So you're a mix.
I mean, it's all mainly romance authors, but Monty does like dark romance. Her Hollow Boy series has like a little mystery thriller twist to it. And I absolutely adore that series. But most of my all of my autobi authors are all indie. Like, I feel like I read like 99% indie books.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. So there's a question. Do you prefer third person or first person, and why when reading?
First person. Almost always. There are very few books that I can do that read third person. Fantasy is one of the things that, like, I feel like third person really comes in to play really well in fantasy books. I can do audio with third person, but I have ADHD, so third person gets very confusing for me.
Yeah.
Because I just don't feel like I know where or whose head I'm in and stuff sometimes. But first person, almost always. I love a dual POV. But I understand why third person is needed.
I like that you delineate fantasy and third person, because I do read fantasy. I read more high than I do read some urban, but you do almost between the world building and then all that like peeking over everyone's shoulder to see what's going on. I feel like you need that.
Yeah.
That's why you have to write in third. But I'm like you in first person. Like I write in first, deep first. And I love it because I want to feel what they feel. So when I write my books, I want you to feel, trepidation or the anticipation or excitement. Like I want you to be backed in a corner and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Because you're her.
Yeah, I love a third person for fantasy where you still get like in the head of the characters, not like the God perspective where they just see what's going on. Like I want to know what's going on in everybody's heads. I can't have that. I'm so confused. I'm like, I don't know. What am I doing?
Oh my gosh, girl, if we could have that in real life.
Yeah.
That'd make things so much easier if I could like head jump.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. But also it could probably get kind of crazy at times.
So do you then find that your auto buys, do you get more engagement when you share those with your followers, or what are your followers looking for that you're able to provide?
I feel like yes, because I feel like I do have a lot of followers that I've gained from like giveaways with these authors and people that I've been like, you need to read these authors. These are authors that I'm all the time. If somebody's like, who should I pick up? I'm like, ones. So I feel like those definitely get more engagement because a lot of my followers have read these authors or have read these books, so it's more engaging for them to like talk about it in the comments.
So do you have a favorite trope or like subgenres?
Marriage of convenience, fake dating. I eat it up. I eat it up.
Isn't that cute? Like every story, there's some people that hate that. Isn't it funny? I feel like, just as you said, I don't like to do reviews and like put a one, or you don't do the spice because spice is all over the place. I feel like tropes and subgenres are all over the place too. Like some people are like, I love miscommunication and misunderstanding, and other people are like, I hate it.
Yeah. I mean, and it's another thing where it's just, it differs to every person, and you could find that niche of that niche of trope that you love, and there's so many books that have that trope. So there's so many out there that you can read, and that's one thing that I don't like sometimes in reviews that I'll see people do is I'm like, you don't like the trope, then why don't you read book?
Okay, girl, us authors ask that question all the time because I know that surprise pregnancy is a trigger. And so I was like, I'm never going to write surprise pregnancy. Well, I kind of did on this like entrapment situation. And so I was like, I violated like basically my own rule. But you do have people that they will come for you if you tell them exactly what the book is about. They still read it and they still come for you.
I know. It's you can't please everyone, and that's just the way the world turns.
How many books do you have like a book goal? I know you don't have a, well, you kind of have a TBR. It just collects dust
Yes,
like
it
all of our.
does very much collect dust, especially lately. I've been so attached to my Kindle. Like, I don't know the last time I picked up a physical book. It's been
It's
months.
so easy though because it goes everywhere when you're laying in bed.
I know, especially like because my husband, he's like over here asleep, and I'm like, I want to read. He's like, don't turn the lights on. I'm
Exactly.
like, fine.
Exactly. I know I love everything about paper hardbacks, you know, and I have a whole like gallery of them.
Yes. Same.
But oh, it can't beat laying in bed with your little blue light glasses on.
Yep. I'm
Just
just
like a coziness to it.
and like I can fall asleep with it in my hand, and it's just gonna be there when I wake up, wherever I was.
It's perfect.
But I set a goal. My first goal was like, I think like 10 books, and I like blew that one out of the water. And then I had one that was 75. Last year was 100, and I read like 101 books. I like
Oh,
binged the crap out of some novella audiobooks to hit my goal. So my goal for this year is 100 again.
ooh. I was gonna ask you, they can't all be done laying in bed at night. So then do you commute and so that's how you do it, or like do chores and listen to it?
I'll like do some chores around the house. I stay home with my kiddos, and my oldest is in kindergarten, so sometimes I can just take a couple hours to read on the couch. But I love audiobooks. I do like we love to travel. We have friends that live in Florida, friends that live in Georgia. So sometimes I'll be driving a couple hours. I love going to Covington, Georgia, where the Vampire Diaries was filmed. So that's like a 2 hour drive there, a 2 hour drive back. But mostly I read probably less than 15 audiobooks a year. Most of
I was gonna say, so do you have the kids in the back and then you're like audiobook going on?
no, no, we don't listen to audiobooks with the kids in the car.
I know.
Yeah, most of the time those trips are just me and my husband or me.
So does he listen along?
He's listened to some. Yeah, he went to work the other night and was like, I listened to an audiobook on your Audible. He listened to 2 romance books last month. Yeah.
He did? No way. That is cute. Okay, what did he think? Do y'all get together, you know, late at night, the kids are in bed, you're like, so?
Like, I don't know, I saw this one, it looked good. I'm like, well, you need to read something that I've read.
Oh, wait. He's getting ahead of you?
Yeah, he's reading stuff I've never read.
That's not allowed. Those are some rules.
I know, right? I'm like, listen to this.
Oh my God, that is so cute though that he's actually like listening to your stuff.
Yeah. He's very supportive of me reading all the time.
Well, I was gonna say, because you know, if you're a busy mama with little ones, stay-at-home mama is like the hardest job in the world, no doubt about it. Because you don't get any free time or downtime, you know, it's just like mom mode, then, you know, family mode, and then wife mode. And so it's got to be hard to juggle your Bookstagram, your YouTube, and then being a mom and a wife.
Yeah, it's a lot. I also have a small shop where I sell candles and t-shirts and stuff.
Well,
so I have
the name. Come on.
J Sky Co. I don't have a whole lot on there. I'm getting ready to like revamp some stuff and release some new stuff, but I have like Vampire Diaries candles. I have a small town candle. I did some Christmas stuff. It's still on there, but they're kind of Christmassy scents. Of like snap bars, like wax melts. But
okay, so say the website again.
It's J, just the letter J, Sky, SKY
.com. Okay, we'll have to check it out, everyone that's listening.
So I've been lucky to work with some authors also with my small shop. I was in Kat Singleton's PR box for Tempt Our Fate. I did a cup for her, and then I've got a couple more things in the works with some other authors for some of their PR boxes. So it's just a lot of bringing everything that I love together and it being surrounded by books, and like with me doing PAing now, that takes up a lot of time. I feel like I just don't stop ever.
Oh, well, mamas never do, right? Your work day is not done until you're like laying in bed
Yeah.
asleep.
But even like when I'm laying in bed, I'm like, I could be doing this. I could be doing this. I need to do this tomorrow. Like I said, ADHD, so my brain just is like.
Okay, so switching gears into PA, tell me more about that, because I find it fascinating. It's something I desperately need, but also at the same time, it's hard to find the right fit.
Thanks, Molly. Molly took a leap of faith with me, because I had never done anything like that before. So I'm very, very thankful for her, but I do a lot of, like, Molly was working up with, like, getting ready for her release, so we were making sure that ARCs got out and that there was a place for them to submit reviews, and, like, just being engaging, and we got our Facebook group started for all of her ARC readers, just helping with posts and, like, content ideas, and, I'm working on her website now, and it's been so much fun. I am loving doing that. It's just like anything she needs me for, we're working on that, and like curating PR boxes and so many just fun things. I'm just like her other brain, is what she tells me all the time.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you guys are a good fit. How long have y'all been working together?
2 months.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah.
So you guys have
We had been friends. Like, I ARC read her first book, and then I beta read her second book. So we had already been friends, and she just kind of took a leap of faith with me. And I've been absolutely loving it. It's so much fun.
Oh, that's so sweet. She's my brain. Well, it's hard because as an author, we have to create the books, but writing the book, I think, is literally the easiest thing compared to the other 95,000 things you have to do as an author or as an indie.
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly staying with the trends and figuring out what content works, when content doesn't, when posting works and when it doesn't, and like going through and pulling things that are marketable from the book to use for content. That's all things that like I help her with.
Oh my gosh, girl, I'm gonna have to talk to you after this.
We can talk.
Are you hiring, and are your DMs open? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, ma'am. They are.
Okay, so, but what do you find most challenging about being a PA? Because I had imagined after 2 months, you guys are it's still trial and error, testing to see what works, and some of it just, trying to be her boots on the ground sort of thing.
I feel like trying to figure out what Instagram and the algorithm want. It's so just so often, and like just figuring out what works, like going through different websites for like pictures and videos and stuff that we can use in content to make sure that we're switching to completely using stuff that's not like Pinterest and that kind of thing. So that's a lot of just like scrolling for hours on a website and pulling what we think works for the characters, to try to just, because visually it's so many readers want visuals of what these people look like. I mean, and everybody kind of looks different in everybody's head, but just having that visual, everybody wants to see a Pinterest board or wants to see this and that, and so that's a lot of work. But I feel like Instagram and figuring out the algorithm of it and TikTok are like the hardest things, and figuring out what's trending, what's working, and what isn't.
If you can figure that out, then you run a masterclass and charge people thousands, because no one knows.
Figure it out because I haven't yet.
And so what are the things that you do as a PA for her, or you would want to do that you guys have not started?
I feel like we do a lot of like working together. She still does a lot of her content, but there are certain things that she'll be like, I need to post for today. Can you help me with this? but it's a lot of like behind the scenes stuff and just like sending out emails when it's needed, making sure that I have like I use this thing called Notion, and it's like
Oh,
the
yeah.
hub for everything. So it's got character breakdowns, and so it's got like each character has a sheet, and it's got their name, their birthday, their hair color, their eye color, any like specific things. That way if like we need to know that really quick, it's there, it's easy to access. All of the like arc readers information is there. So like that hub is really important for making sure we know what's going on, and so we don't lose like continuity in between things. And then also just like content ideas. There's just a whole page of just like content ideas where if one of us is like, we don't know what to do today, well, we can just go browse that, be like, this one will work really well, I think. So it's just basically a lot of behind the scenes things.
Oh, I love Notion, but oh my gosh, you have to, okay, there's a learning curve,
Mm-hmm.
and it's almost, when I've been on, it's almost like it has too many capabilities. And so you almost have to, in my opinion, you almost have to like buy a template and start
Mm-hmm.
there. But I love that you guys have almost like a project management. To me, that's what Notion is like project management, right? Y'all both can go on, you can look at it, it organizes, because as an author, we have bits of information everywhere. That notebook, that spreadsheet, in Google Docs, on Microsoft,
Yeah,
it's a mess.
it's so much everywhere. So I'm like, we need to find one place. It's easily accessible. You can easily access it on your phone or your computer, and that way, like, it has links to Pinterest boards. It has links to playlists, like everything. You can find everything on that Notion about anything that she might need.
Okay, I'm jealous of that. I have this spreadsheet and it literally has like everyone's eye colors and like all their physical character. Like, this person has a scar on their eyebrow that makes them look
Yeah,
cool or so. You know what I mean? But it's all those details. Like when we're writing the book, you're like, I'm going to remember that. You'll get 50 pages in and you forget about that damn scar on his
yeah.
eyebrow.
And continuity is so big, and so many. Like, I am such a stickler for continuity when
Yep.
I'm reading. That I'm like, we're making sure we always know what's going on.
Oh, you readers, I love y'all, but you'll also find all the mistakes, all the errors. You're like, wasn't his eyes green? And they're blue. And you're like, I don't know, I just forgot.
Yeah, that's why I love beta reading, because I'm such a stickler for stuff like that. Where like I'm not gonna be able to tell you if you misspelled this or if this is grammatically incorrect, because
Commas.
my brain does not run on that wavelength. But I can tell you if this is not, if the continuity is wrong here, or if this timeline does not work.
Oh, no, I love that because sometimes we'll start a book and you're like, it is definitely January. And then by the time you're like, I'm writing this as of September, and you're like, these are two different weathers.
Yeah, I mean, and so much going on in your minds as authors. Like, the little things is like the last thing on your mind of what the weather's like or what their eye color is.
I know, because I said it to I have a dev editor and she's like, are we in January? Because it moved to September. I'm like, I don't know what we're in.
I don't know.
I just want her to be bundled up in this one scene because I thought it was kind of smegsy, but she needs to not be bundled up by September. She's like, but this is all happening within like 2 weeks. I'm like, I know.
We'll pick one. Go with it.
Exactly. No, so that continuity is huge because we do miss it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't get everything right. If it was that easy, then everybody would be an author.
I know. It is on everyone's bucket list, though, right? To write that book before they die.
Nope.
You're like, not this girl.
Not
Well,
take me
that's good.
to Disneyland Paris. That's on my bucket list. I don't want to write a book.
Well, you read enough. I mean, 100 books a year? Jeez.
I feel like that is one of the reasons I couldn't write a book. Because I'd be like, oh, I have this idea. Never mind. I just read that one time.
You're like, it's her idea and her
Yeah.
idea and her idea. Well,
Exactly.
It's I used to read a ton, but now that I have a really aggressive rapid release schedule, you don't write. And then I had an author friend who, oh my gosh, she has put out, I think, like 32 books in 3 years. I know. It's insane. I don't think so. She's never been married, doesn't have kids, and I want to use that as the excuse, but I think she's superhuman.
It sounds like it.
No. And so she said, I never read. She goes, because I feel like I would end up borrowing people's idea without even knowing it. And I thought, that's true, right? Like you have read so much. You think it may be the original idea, but like you said, oh, that could have been 50 books ago or 40 books ago.
Yeah. I feel like it would be hard to figure out if you've wrote it or not, if you've read 30 books.
I know. And I was like, she said, sometimes I forget the details of my books. I'm like, yeah.
I bet.
Yeah, she's like, I couldn't remember
what books I read, for sure.
Yeah, she said, one of my characters, I made a big deal in one of them, like how she takes her coffee or something like that. And then a reader sent her a picture of like this coffee cup, and she's kind of like, I didn't get it. And she said, my reader sent me my character's coffee order. And I was just like, this is the weirdest, DM ever.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And so she's like, be careful, because that what happened to you. You won't even remember the books you wrote. I'm like, oh, that's lovely.
I love that.
I know. Okay, so switching gears, your YouTube channel. It is so cute.
Thank you.
So I know you put a lot of time and effort into that.
Yes, it's so much work. And like, if I didn't have to edit videos, I would post so many more videos than I do. But editing a video takes forever. Forever.
I feel like, well, okay, so the ones that, I mean, YouTube's been around forever. We've all seen amazing creators and not so amazing ones. And I feel like those that take the longest, you don't even see the editing. They're just so smooth. You have like an 11-minute video and you're like, this is so smooth. And I'm wondering, like, how many hours did it take to get that?
Hours and hours. I actually started a YouTube channel because my friend Paige has a YouTube channel that is pretty successful. Ooh, and she was like, Paige Corin. She started as like a beauty content creator. And now she does a lot of like lifestyle stuff. She still does a lot of beauty, but more of like a mix of it in lifestyle. She's fantastic, and she convinced me to start my YouTube channel. So I just kind of decided one day, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And I posted kind of consistently since then.
Okay, so how long have you had your YouTube channel?
I think October of 21.
Oh, at the same time.
Pretty much immediately. I think my October wrap-up was my first video. So it may have been posted in November. Okay, so what are your plans for it, though? Do you want to continue it? Is it getting to be too much work with your PA and your book blogging and everything else? I want to continue it. I really, really enjoy doing it. It's just like November, December, January was like the most hectic months ever. So I've just got to get back in the routine of filming and editing in between all of the other million things that I do. I know. It's hard, right? How do you manage your time between all your tasks? Is it a certain amount of time per day, or is it like project-based, like Notion? It's kind of chaotic. I feel like that's where the ADHD, I have a lot of like things half done at all times, and then I'll go back and like finish them. But my husband is very incredible, and he luckily only works about half the month, so he's able to help a lot with the kids, and I do a lot when he switches from days and nights. So when he's on nights, I will do a lot of like get the kids to bed really early, like 8 o'clock, and then I will work till midnight. So I'll have like hours of like just uninterrupted time to get stuff done. So I I don't think I'd be able to do it without him, though. He's phenomenal.
Oh, that's so sweet. But it makes sense though that you have to maximize your time because you're so flexible, right? There's so many demands on it, and you have to be flexible. And especially if he does any kind of like shift work,
Yeah.
you've probably been a pro at shuffling and reorganizing, because I know shift workers are not for the faint of heart.
He works at a chemical plant.
Yep, refinery. I was going to ask.
A days of months, and then a month of days, a month of nights, and it just rotates. But luckily he only works like 15 days out of the month, so that's pretty nice. But he does work 12-hour shifts. So.
I have brother-in-laws that have been in the oil and gas industry. I've had some on dry land refineries and then offshore. So I am very familiar. So when you said that, I was like, I bet he works in a refinery or a plant.
It's crazy. Like his job is very dangerous. They like if something went wrong, it would like in that place blew up, it'd put like a 10-foot crater in the ground. It would be very bad for the city that it is in.
That's us. We have Dow Chemical. I mean, we have a ton of chemical between Pasadena, Texas, which is really just down the road from Houston. We have Lake Jackson. You know that. Like everybody knows Houston is oil and gas. And so we are very similar to you. Yeah. And when the refineries have something, an emergency, there's always that, not called shut in. I can't think of what it's called. Where you have to like close.
Yeah. Where you can't hide.
Yep. That's us. So what are your plans and goals for this year? You mentioned you want to have 100 books read. And
I want to expand a collection in my store. I'd love to add some more authors, even if it's not just PAing, just content creation, anything like that. Work with some more authors. And then I also want to go to some conventions. I'm actually going to Sweetgrass in Charleston next month. And then I'm going to Authors in the Bluegrass. I'm a vendor for it. Lucky in October. I just feel like those are so fun, and I think it would be so fun to go to like even more of those.
The conventions, I know there are so many. I know that.
I feel like there's like little ones popping up in different states, which I think is awesome because it gives readers an easy opportunity if it's in their state to not have to like fly thousands of miles to one of the bigger ones.
Oh yeah, because not everybody can afford to go to BookCon in New York.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like it's opening up even more opportunities for a lot of indie authors, where they're bringing in smaller authors, and I feel like even more of them are mainly indie authors, not trad authors.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Plus, sometimes the dates just don't work out. June and July get a little bit of thin, right? Because we're all booked and traveling, or your kids are in stuff and you're traveling with them. And so I know that the smaller venues, to me, I like them because they're more intimate and you can actually meet people.
Yeah, you can.
Sometimes there's
with people.
Yeah, those book cons, those big ones. Woo! Or I'm trying to think. There's another one for romance. Just slipped my mind. Rare.
Yeah.
That they're massive, like thousands of people. You're like, how do I even meet people? How do I find, who I am meant to be with and make friends with and connect with?
Yeah. And I feel like the book community it's growing so rapidly, but I feel like you're able to make connections with people, especially like on the internet. You're able to talk to people, and then you're able to go to those conventions and actually meet those people in person. I feel like it's just a really cool, like I met Maren Moore for the first time in person last week. And I've never met Molly in person. We're meeting next weekend.
Oh.
So, but it's just really cool for like readers to be able to connect with authors and build friendships with them.
Well, it's why I like to do Let's Go Live, because the book community has given me so much. I want to give back. want to, promote other people, anyone in the publishing industry. I know it's been authors a lot, but I've done editors, I've done publishers, I've done PR companies, because my gosh, we need help. We need support any way we can get it.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like find your community and stick with them, and they make it so much easier on you when you're able to ask questions openly to people, when you have those people to ask questions to. Like, I don't understand this. Can you like help me? So I feel like that the book community's done really well with that. For the most part, everyone that I've ever talked to has been extremely, extremely nice.
I've had good success too. When I first started, I did not know who to talk to. I didn't have any resources. And so I thought, okay, when I get a few books under my belt, I'm going to be that resource. I want people to feel free to come to me and be like, hey, do you know anything about this? Or can you put me in contact with this person?
Mm-hmm.
Like you, I am fascinated by PR boxes. I have not done one at
Mm-hmm.
all, but there are some superb ones out there. Like, they are.
That do so fantastic with PR boxes. And I think it's so fun to like look for that kind of stuff, like to put in a PR box. Like you could pull like this little thing, like this little bitty thing that is mentioned in the book, and like pull for a PR box. I think it's so fun.
Yeah, I've had a couple requests for PR boxes, and so I'm just like, oh,
yeah,
it terrifies me.
A lot to manage and try to pull together. But I feel like they're so fun, and I feel like readers really love them, because like if you get a couple readers that see them, and then other readers see them, they're more interested in, hey, how could I get one of these? Like, I'm gonna go read this author's books and maybe try to become a part of their art team or their influencer team, so that I can have the opportunity to get this PR box.
Oh, okay. So the PR boxes are for the art team, and not, because I know some authors sell them on their website.
I mean, definitely sell them. I mean, a lot of authors don't sell them, so if you gave the opportunity to sell them, I think that would be really cool. But a lot of times authors are sending them to ARC team members, influencer team members, just influencers in general, that maybe aren't even on their team, because it's for promotional like, is one of the big things is for it to be promotional, to get your book out there.
Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, I'm learning so much already. So how do you stay up to date though with the book releases and trends? Like hockey's big, Billionaires was huge. I think Billionaires may still be huge, but you know what I mean?
Will always be huge. Everyone will always love them a billionaire. I feel like Instagram is such a good place. You find those creators that you like, and they read the books that you like, and you follow them, and you keep up with what they're posting and what they're reading, and it's kind of naturally you'll find books that you will love, as long as you're finding creators that you love, and you love what they're reading. So I say pay attention to authors that you love and follow, and like stuff that they're sharing in their stories, and those creators that they're sharing, because those creators are reading books that you like.
And so is that how you determine what the trends are? How do you see it? Because sometimes, when you're scrolling in your feed, it'll be like hockey. That's what I noticed.
Going to just the Reels page in general, not like on your specific feed, is really good to find. Like, okay, I've been scrolling for 5 minutes. I've heard this song a couple times. That song's probably trending. Same thing with TikTok, which TikTok is a lot more like dedicated to you as a person. Their algorithm is really good at creating a For You page. So you're able to see things that are trending with you, and therefore it should be trending with your followers as well.
Okay, that's a good tip. Interesting. But how has your taste changed? Like you said, you started in October of 21. It's now February. I'm sure it's evolved.
Yeah, I've definitely switched from those trad publishers to mainly indie.
Okay, why is that?
I just feel like I connect with the stories better, and you're able to build that connection with the author as well, which I think is really fun. You're able to like maybe just have a conversation with them, even if it's just a couple quick DMs.
Yeah.
You're just able to connect more with them. And I just feel like I just like their stories better usually. I feel like when they have more control of everything, I feel like things flow better a lot of times. When they're not like on a deadline, or they're not being told you must do this. So I feel like having more control usually turns out with a better product. And I'm not saying that traditional authors don't have incredible products.
Yeah.
But I just feel more connected to indie authors. I think there's some incredible ones out there that may never sign a book deal, and they might not want to. I feel like it's not like the end goal like it used to be. I feel like getting signed is not the end all be all for all of these authors. I feel like a lot of them are absolutely killing it as indie authors.
Well, I would have to fall in that category. I do have a friend who's traditionally published in sci-fi. I think he has like 8.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him extensively, and he's like, these books aren't my own. Like, I write them, and then they go through a million edits and revisions, and they tell me, like, take this out or move this. We don't like that. And I was just like, oh. I was like, oh, I could not do that, sir. Like, I would be like, screw you. That's how the story's going to end. If I want to kill her and them, I will. And he's like, yeah, you're never going to be signed for a book deal. He says, because you don't control the cover, you don't control, the story. And I was like, why be traditionally published at all? And he's like, well, the dollars, right? The marketing, the promotion, money they make. And I was just like, but it's not your story anymore. It's their story.
I mean, I feel like with indie authors, you get all that control. And then I feel like a lot of times the marketing finds you, because like your readers find your book and they're posting about it and they're making content, and it's word to mouth all the time. And that's, in my opinion, sometimes the best marketing is word to mouth.
Oh, I think so. I mean, that's why we see these books go viral on TikTok, because it takes just like the right person, and then it spreads like wildfire. Like, okay, when oh gosh, I'm gonna Iron Wing. What was the one? Flames.
Fourth Wing.
Fourth Wing and Iron Flames. Okay, Fourth Wing was ravenous, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just like wildfire.
That book came out and it was like immediate, out of nowhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up.
Like, saw TikTok where this person was like, you've got to read this book. And then they read it, and then they told their friends that you got to read this book. And it just snowballs from there.
Oh, and then her follow-up novel, the same thing. The day it was released, it was just like everywhere. Your feed, you'd walk into Target, it was there, TikTok. I mean, it was like everywhere. And so you're right. I feel like the right word of mouth, well, I mean, sometimes it sinks an author if the author is, just not being kind. You'll see that too. Yeah. But that's an example that just blew up, and I was like, dang.
Yeah. They'll find it does something wrong.
All of us authors are like, how do we do that?
Yeah. It's just getting people to see your book, getting your book out there, and that's why like TikTok and Instagram are so important, and just trying to find like your niche. And that's the thing, is like you can't do everything that's trendy, because then the algorithm's like, well, who do I send this to? You've got to find your niche. You've got to stick to it, even like through the times where the algorithm isn't putting your stuff out. You've just kind of got to like bear through it and get your things seen. And eventually you're going to have that reel or that TikTok that gets good views, and those views are going to turn into readers.
And I mean, that's exciting, right? Because that's what we want.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly what you want. You don't want to just get it into you don't want as many people to see it as possible. You want the right people to see it.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're so smart at this stuff.
Thanks.
Well, I know we're coming up on an hour. It goes by so
It
fast,
does.
right? I know. So I'll obviously have to have you back in a few months and we can talk about this more in depth because there's so much. It didn't even cover like half my questions on my list.
Yeah, we can do it again for sure.
Okay, do you have a time for a few rapid
Yes,
fire?
absolutely.
Okay. Some of these we may have answered, but we can do it rapid fire. Do you prefer ebook or physical book?
Right now, ebook.
Yeah. Your favorite reading spot?
Ooh, my husband just hung this like swing chair in our bedroom. It's like one of the like lounging like hammock chairs.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, that's fun. Favorite book to movie adaptation?
I feel like Red, White, and Royal Blue was really good.
Oh, I didn't even know they made that into a movie.
They did.
Ooh. Okay, I know what I'm watching this weekend.
It's really, really good. I love that
Do you
book.
prefer a series or standalone?
Series. I love an interconnected series.
Oh, I do too. Okay, favorite book, boyfriend, protagonist, or villain? So many.
My favorite book. I feel like I have so many. Oh my god, this is not rapid fire.
It's okay.
West. That's the male main character in Molly's book.
Who? What's his
Owen
name?
West.
Owen West, and then Molly.
It's from Molly's new book, Bring It All.
Bring It All.
He's fantastic.
Oh, favorite opening line from a book?
I don't know. I don't know that I know any off the top of my head.
Do you think the opening line is that critical? Some people don't. Some people say it's not. It doesn't matter.
I feel like not in romance. I feel like that fits more in a thriller or even a like high fantasy. I feel like it's not as like crucial in a romance book.
Okay, interesting take. This may be controversial. Most overrated book in your opinion?
We Were Liars.
We Were Liars. Who wrote that? Not Henry? No.
Can't remember what their name is, but I did
remember the cover, but I can't think of the author.
Yeah, It and Malibu Rising. I didn't even finish Malibu Rising.
That's okay.
It was not my
what is the last book that made you cry, if you remember?
Oh, probably Bring It All. I read it, so and the ending of that book will have you sobbing.
Tearjerker. I thought there's supposed to be happily ever afters.
There is, okay. But there, you hit that like 70-75% mark, and something's got to go wrong.
Of course. Do you prefer to read one book at a time or multiple books at once?
I'm usually almost always reading two. I'm usually have an audiobook and either a physical or an ebook copy going. If I'm really into a physical book at the time, I'll have all three going at once.
A physical, a Kindle, and an audio. Girl. Which book character would you want to be your best friend?
I think Margot from Black Ties and White Lies by Kat Singleton.
Oh, okay. That's a good choice. Okay, well, that is all I have for rapid fire. And again, I will slide into your DMs.
Yeah, definitely. We can talk.
Okay, great. It's been so nice getting to know you.
Yes.
We will talk again later in the year so I can catch up with you and see what you have going on in your wonderful book blogging, YouTubing, and PA world.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kristen. Ciao for now.
Bye.
Bye.